I'm going to be making a shortcrust pastry, filling it with lemon curd, and topping it off with fresh strawberries and pistachio nuts. Tarts are really easy to make. So let's get started. To make our pastry, we're going to need 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of butter, some salt, and about half a cup of water. Make sure it's chilled. Make sure your butter's chilled also. You can try popping it in the freezer for a little bit, and it helps if you cut it up into little pieces. So we're gonna use a mixer, food processor, whatever you like. If you don't have one, you can use a potato masher. Make sure that's chilled too, so it doesn't melt the butter, and mash it all up. Or just a fork, a chilled fork, and cut it all up. So we're just gonna add this into our mixer here. Then we're going to add our butter. Throw in our salt. This is a really simple shortcrust pastry. No eggs, nothing else. Our lemon curd is going to have eggs, so this kind of helps by being simple. I'm going to turn the mixer on and get that going right now. You don't want to mix it too long, you just want to mix the ingredients. That's good. Another minute. At this point it has kind of a cornmeal texture. It's all nice and broken up. The butter's mixed in with the flour. Oh, puff of flour there. At this point we're going to add in our ice water. A little at a time. It's all nice and mixed now. We're going to take it and put it in a bowl. Once that's in our bowl, we want to dust with a little flour and knead it a little bit. Into a nice soft ball. Just a little bit more. You don't want to work it too long because you don't want all that butter to melt and make your dough gooey. I'm going to take that now and we're going to cover it and pop it in the fridge and let it rest for half an hour. Our pastry is in the fridge cooling, and now we can get started on our lemon curd. We're going to need 7 ounces of sugar, 3 eggs and 2 egg yolks, about 6 tablespoons of butter, and about 7 ounces of lemon juice, and just a dash of lemon zest. We're going to do a different method. We're going to try an easy, even a novice can do this. We're going to mix it all up in the mixer, and then we're going to pop it on the stove to cook. It's going to look a little curdled when it comes out, but that tends to smooth out as it cooks during the cooking process. So we're going to pop in our sugar. We're going to pop in our butter. We're going to pop in our eggs. And we're going to mix that right up. We're going to get that going, and then we're going to add the lemon juice. Doesn't take much. We're going to stop for a moment, and now we're going to add our lemon juice. Put the lid back on and continue mixing. As you can see, it looks a little curdled, but like I said, that'll smooth out during cooking. So we're going to pop that into a saucepan, and we're going to cook it up. As you can see, place it on the heat. It does look a little curdled, but like I said, that's just the butter and the lemon. That'll smooth up as it cooks. I'm going to keep stirring while we cook it. We're going to let that rise up a bit. You don't want to bring this to a boil, then it'll really curdle. Just keep stirring. I want this on medium heat. I can already feel it start to thicken up a little bit. Look, lemon curd is really nice. It's going to go well with our strawberries. And like I said, there aren't any eggs or any sugar in the pastry. It's going to complement the lemon curd very well. You can also make lemon curd and save it. It goes well on pancakes and on toast and on lots of things. Doing it this way and skipping the tempering step also makes sure that you don't have to worry about little bits of egg in your lemon curd or having it curdle when you're trying to temper it. So this is an easy way of making it. As you can see, it's definitely starting to clear now. And it should start to thicken up shortly. You don't want to rush it. Like I said, you don't want to bring this to a boil or it really will curdle. As you can see, all the butter is melted now. It's a nice smooth mixture. I'm just waiting for it to thicken up now. It will thicken after you remove it from the heat, and when you let it sit to cool, it will thicken up even more. But right now we do want it to have some thickness to it. And there we go, it's starting to thicken up. And we want to stir rather quickly at this point. And keep our mixture smooth. Thickening up nicely now. it from the heat quickly. As you can see, it has a perfectly creamy texture. Came out really nice, and it's really thick. I don't know if you can see that. Sticks to the back of the spoon. Well, hard to see with this spoon. So we're going to transfer that into a bowl and let that sit and cool. As you can see, we have a nice, brightly colored, it's already starting to thicken up, lemon curd. We're going to cover that with foil, with saran wrap, and we're going to pop it in the fridge to cool. We're going to cover it so that it doesn't develop the skin. But it's thickening up nicely. This is one of the easiest ways of making it, making sure it doesn't curdle on you. It's really tasty, really simple to make, and well worth it. If you notice, we didn't add our lemon zest. We're saving that for our finishing sauce. We want to maintain that silky smoothiness of the lemon curd. We don't want to add anything that's going to mar that. So we're going to set this aside to cool. We're going to work on our finishing glaze and slice our strawberries, bake our tarts, and we're good to go. Before we start baking our tarts, we want to do our finishing glaze. This is going to go on top of our strawberries to seal them. I don't like to use a cornstarch or a thickened one, so we're just going to do a simple syrup. We're going to take 1.5 cups of water, about a teaspoonful of freshly squeezed lemon juice, and about a cup of sugar. We're also going to take our lemon zest and pop a pinch full of that in there. And stir that up. And we'll bring that to a boil, and then we're going to lower the heat and let it simmer. You want to stir it until the sugar dissolves in there. This is a really nice finish. It's going to complement the lemon curd really well as the fruit. It doesn't get that jelly-ish texture. It's actually a really nice touch. I like it as a finish much better than any cornstarch. This picks up really quickly, but we do want to give it time to cool. I used fresh organic lemons in the lemon curd, and for the zest, very aromatic. If you can go with fresh, it's much better than the reconstituted. You just want to be cautious and not let this boil over. You want to give it a stir every so often. It's starting to come to a boil now. And once it does that, like I said, we're going to lower the heat. You'll see it start to get a little foamy on top. I'm going to lower the heat and let it simmer until it thickens up. Not simmer, I shouldn't say simmer. You don't want to lower the heat that much or it'll take forever. As you can see, that's what it should look like, simmering away with a little foam on top. And you just let that boil away till it reduces into a nice syrup. It'll also thicken a little bit more upon cooling. So you don't want to go too far with reducing it. Once our syrup mixture has gotten very bubbly and foamy is when we know it's done. That's when we remove it from the heat. See how bubbly and foamy it is? And you can see that it's already thickened. And stir it until the foam is gone. It's nice and clear now. You can tell that it's thick, and you can't really see that on camera, but it's actually thicker. You'll see it as you're making it. It clings to the side of the pot. We're going to set that aside and cool. It needs a while because of the high sugar content, and that's why we made it now. Now we're going to get ready to bake our tarts. This doesn't need to be covered or anything. You can just set it aside and let it cool. Okay, we have our dough. It's fully chilled. It's been about 35 minutes, maybe a little bit more. We have some flour. For flouring, I like to do this. I like to roll it out on a piece of wax paper. It's easier to clean the counter afterwards, and I don't have to worry about the dough running into any troubles. If you're worried about the dough, the wax paper moving around, you can just take a little bit of your dough and pop it on the edges. And that'll keep it nice and secure. Take a little flour. Flour that out. Take our dough. It's got a nice texture to it. We don't want to work it too much. We do want to knead it up a little bit though. You don't want that butter to cool though. So I'm going to take about half of this. Easy to work with. Since we're making tarts, we don't have to worry about it being in one contiguous piece. Make that into, take a little more flour. Get it started. I'm going to roll it out. You don't want to roll it out too thin, because you do want it to support both the lemon curd and the weight of the berries. Just keep flipping it over. Make sure your surface is well floured. You also want to be careful and make sure that it's the same thickness all around pretty much. It's okay if you're a little bit off. You can always press it down in the tart shell. That's good enough. As you can see, the thickness here, not too thick, not too thin. And what I like to do is I have this round bowl. It's just a little bit larger than my tart shells. So I'm going to cut out a couple of pieces here. And I'm just going to take my tart shell, I'm going to place that in the center there. I'm going to lightly, very lightly, press down around the bottom and press into the edges so I get those nice ridges. Turning it slowly as I go around. I want to press out all the air out of there. I'm going to work very gently with it. If you see that it's starting to go over the edges of the tart shell, just press down. Now at some point take your thumb, press like this, and make sure you get a nice finish to your shell there. And that's it. You want to also pierce the bottom with a fork so that as they're cooking, they don't puff up on you. And set that aside. Cut out another one. Pop it in your shell and repeat the process. And you just go along like that. Until you have all your tart shells finished. Pierce, as you can see. Pierce them well so they don't rise in the center. We're almost finished rolling them out and putting them in our tart tins. We've preheated the oven to 350. We're going to finish rolling out the rest of these and filling our tart shells, and then we're going to bake them. We're going to bake them until they're golden brown. These are the last 4. We're going to make about 8 today. We've pierced them. We've gotten the edges nice and round. There's a little thickness to them. If you see that they develop air bubbles while they're cooking in the oven, check on them, and you can just poke them down while they're baking too. I'm going to put these in the oven for about 10 or 15 minutes until they're golden brown. Put them on a baking sheet first. I'm in the oven now. Like I said, bake for 10 to 15 minutes at 350 until they're golden brown. Our tarts are ready. They're coming out of the oven. What I like to do, even though it's really hot, so they're a nice golden brown. What I like to do is pop them out, set them nice golden brown. I don't know if you can see that. Is pop them out on a plate to cool. Another visual. Very hot, but they come out very easily. Oops. They came out really nice. We're gonna let them set the edges over so they don't go soggy from the steam as they cool. While we're waiting for our tarts to cool, I took some pistachio nuts and I chopped them up. I've washed and cleaned our strawberries, and now what we want to do is just take them and halve them. This is about a quart. A quart might be too much, depending on how many tarts you're making. You might be able to make do with a pint. I got a quart. So I'm just going to cut them in half. Our tarts are thoroughly cooled. And we can proceed to decorate them now and fill them. As you can see, they have a really nice edge. Came out nice and golden brown. I'm going to set them down here. A lemon curd came out beautifully. It's nice and smooth, has a wonderful color and a fantastic creamy texture. As you recall, we didn't put in the lemon zest, so it didn't lose any of that creaminess. It's like really wonderful, nice and thick. Our glaze came out beautifully too. As you can see, it's the color and almost the consistency of honey. It's really worth making this. The lemon and the sugar in it are preservatives, and they keep any fruit you use it on from discoloring. And it's nice and it's a nice taste to it, and it doesn't leave you with that gelatin-like feeling in your mouth. When I come across that, it almost ruins any pastry I'm having. This is fantastic stuff. Learn how to make it. If you feel that you reduced it too much and it starts almost caramelizing, just add a little bit of water and reheat it until you have the consistency that you want. This is really fantastic stuff. I'm going to take our tart. We're going to fill it. Make sure to reach the edges. You don't want to overfill it because the strawberries, when they press down, will cause, you don't want it to make the lemon curd ooze out. I'm going to take our strawberries. I'm going to lay them on top there. Start out with 4, and then just pop another 2 in the center. Like so. 4, and then 2 like that. Once you do that, I'm going to dab on your glaze. This clings nicely to the fruit. I don't know if you can see that. Just dab it onto the top of each one. Grab some pistachios. Pop them in the center there. Grab some of the crushed ones, put them along your plate, and you have a really pretty plate. I don't know if you can see that, but it really looks nice. And they're really tasty too. If you've never made lemon curd before, I suggest you give them a try. The combination of the lemon curd, the strawberries, the glaze, and the pistachio nuts, plus the shortbread crust is absolutely fantastic.